Hello and welcome to Prime Mindset Academy. Today, we're going to build something really powerful, a framework for making smarter choices. We're going to equip you with a mental toolkit to help you navigate this complex and, let's face it, pretty uncertain world. So, let's get right into it. We're going to start with this big idea from author and former poker champion Annie Duke. Think about it. Every single choice you make, from a big career move to what you eat for lunch, is basically a bet on a future outcome. You're wagering your time, your energy, your money on a result that you can't be 100% sure about. And just thinking about it that way, well, that's the first huge step toward better judgment. And this leads to a really crucial distinction. Life isn't chess, it's poker. In chess, everything is right there in front of you. You see all the pieces, your opponent sees all the pieces. It's a world of perfect information, where the best player almost always wins. But life? That's poker. You've got hidden cards, your opponent has hidden cards, there's a ton of incomplete information. And yeah, skill matters a lot, but so does luck. This means we have to stop looking for the one right answer and start thinking in terms of probabilities. It's all about making the best bet you can with the information you have. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to solidify this poker not chess idea. Then we'll take a hard look at our own flawed mental maps, why our brains make this so difficult. After that, the fun part, building your cognitive toolbox with some amazing mental models. Then we'll tackle how to make decisions when you're under pressure. And finally, we'll talk about how to turn all of this into a real habit. Okay, so if life is a game of poker, we really need to understand the player holding the cards. And that's us. This brings us to section 2, our flawed mental maps. Let's dive into why our brains, by default, can really struggle with all the uncertainty and ambiguity of a poker-like world. See, your brain is an efficiency machine. To get through the day, it uses all these little mental shortcuts. You might know them as cognitive biases. They help you make sense of the world fast. But those shortcuts can also lead you way off track. And when you add stress to that mix, oh man, that's when your judgment can get seriously clouded. Your fight or flight response kicks in, and making a clear, rational decision can feel next to impossible. And this quote just hits it home perfectly. Picture this: an elite gymnast at a national championship is about to perform, but her heart starts racing, fear takes over. That single thought, what if I mess up? It just paralyzes her, and then she falls. It wasn't because she wasn't skilled enough, it was because her emotions completely hijacked her performance. It's a perfect, powerful example of how our internal state can absolutely sabotage our best laid plan. So, we've seen the challenge, right? Our brains aren't perfectly wired for this stuff. Now let's get to the solution. Welcome to section 3, where we're going to open up your cognitive toolbox. This is where we start collecting and learning how to use specific mental models to cut through all that mental fog and see things much more clearly. So, what in the world is a mental model? Honestly, just think of it like a map. It's a simplified version of reality that helps you understand how something works. A map of the subway isn't the subway itself, but it's incredibly useful for getting around, right? Well, mental models are like that for your brain. The more models you have in your toolbox, the more lenses you have to look at a problem, and that is the key to getting unstuck. Let's start with 2 of my absolute favorites because they're so versatile. First up is inversion. It's so simple. Instead of asking, how can I be successful? You flip it on its head and ask, what would guarantee that I fail? Then you just don't do those things. It's an amazing way to avoid problems before they start. Second, we have second-order thinking. Look, anyone can see the immediate effect of a decision, but the real skill, the superpower, is seeing the ripple effects, the consequences of the consequences. This is how you solve one problem without accidentally creating 3 new ones. Okay, time for another essential tool for our toolbox. This one is an absolute lifesaver in the modern world, especially for all you perfectionists out there. It's a strategy called Satisficing. It's a mashup of the words satisfy and suffice, and it's all about aiming for a result that is simply good enough. And this is such a game-changing idea. You've got 2 types of people. The maximizer feels like they have to look at every single option out there to find the absolute perfect #1 best choice. It's exhausting. And it often leads to not making a decision at all, or feeling regret later. But the Satisficer, they're smarter. They decide their criteria first. I need something that does X, Y, and Z. And the minute they find something that checks those boxes, they pull the trigger and move on. And guess what? Study after study shows that Satisficers are generally happier and more content with their decisions. All right, so having these tools is great. But what happens when the stakes are high, the clock is ticking, and everything feels like it's on fire? That's what brings us to section 4. Decisions under pressure. How do you actually use this stuff when it really counts? Just check out this number. It's pretty staggering. A report from McKinsey found that companies with a plan, a structured framework for making decisions in a crisis, recover 40% faster than companies that just wing it. 40%. That tells you everything. Having a process ready to go isn't just a nice to have, it's the difference between managed chaos and a total meltdown. And here is one of the simplest, most effective frameworks ever created. The Eisenhower matrix. It is brilliant for cutting through the noise in a crisis. You just take every task or problem and sort it into one of 4 boxes. Is it urgent and important? You do it right now. Is it important but not urgent? You schedule a time to do it later. Is it urgent but not important? You delegate it to someone else. And if it's neither important or urgent, you just eliminate it. Get it off your plate. This forces you to focus your precious energy on what truly matters. But let's be real, no framework on earth is going to help you if your mind is panicking and your heart is pounding. That's where you need a physiological tool. This is called tactical breathing, or the 4-7-8 technique. It's used by police officers, soldiers, top athletes, anyone who has to perform under pressure. You just breathe in for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then exhale slowly for 8 seconds. That simple action sends a signal directly to your nervous system that says, hey, we're safe, you can calm down. It lets your rational brain get back in the driver's seat so you can actually use your toolkit. Okay, so we've got all these amazing tools, but they're not going to do you any good just sitting in the toolbox. This isn't a one-and-done fix. Making better decisions is a skill, a muscle that you have to build over time. And that brings us to our final section. Practice makes progress. So here's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Sometimes you'll make a brilliant decision, a really solid bet, and you'll still get a bad outcome just because of bad luck. And other times you'll make a terrible decision and get bailed out by pure luck. If you only ever judge yourself based on the outcome, you're going to learn all the wrong lessons. So how do we get around that? Well, here's the answer. This is probably the single most powerful habit you can build. Keep a decision journal. It creates an incredible feedback loop for your thinking. Before you make any big choice, you just jot these things down. What's the decision? What's my reasoning? And what assumptions am I making? What do I think is going to happen? And how likely is it? And hey, how am I feeling right now? Am I stressed, excited, tired? And then, this is the magic part, you set a date in the future to come back and review it. This forces you to look at the quality of your thinking, not just whether you got lucky or not. And if you work in a team, you can do the same thing. It's called an after-action review. It's like a decision journal for a group. After a big project or event, the team gets together and asks 4 simple questions. What did we expect to happen? What actually happened? Why was there a difference? And what are we going to do differently next time? It's a simple, blame-free way to make learning and improving part of your culture. We have covered a ton of ground today, from seeing life as a game of poker to powerful tools like Inversion, Satisficing, and the Decision Journal. The goal here isn't to become a master of everything overnight. The goal is to just start building that toolkit one piece at a time. So that leaves us with one last simple question to think about. What mental model will you add to your toolbox today?